So some of you might remember when I first started the channel, I did this like I think I got through three parts of it, a complete movie collection video series, and basically I ended up kind of reorganizing everything before I even had a chance to finish that. So I figured let's try it again. Welcome to round 2 of the first complete movie collection series on the channel. So I ended up reorganizing everything in the collection, and I did slipcovers. I have this little center shelf down here for some more boutiques and stuff like that. So it goes in slipcovers and then not slipcovers on that side and stuff. So I figured we'll just start from scratch and go over pretty much most of it again. I didn't really get that far. And as far as the series, I don't know how far I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going to do all of the slipcovers in one video because there's a lot. We have, I think if I remember correctly, 1,268 titles in the collection. Now, not 1,200 cases, but 1,268 titles. So there's a lot to go over, and I don't want to be one of those people who are just flying through it. I would like to kind of take a second, talk about why I own it, and make a deep dive. I really don't care if this series is 10 episodes deep, whatever. I just would love a chance to go through and talk about everything that's in her. So I have this shelf emptied. It's sitting right here, and we're just going to dive right in. So first up, we have 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. This is directed by Michael Bay. Honestly, it's the most tame of all of his films, I think. It is good. John Krasinski is great in it. It has still all the Bayisms, but it feels a little bit more tamed back. It feels like a little bit more of a mature Bay, which I know we're probably never going to get in full, but this was a good look into it because that's not bad at all. And then we have a recent one that I added to the collection, and that is After Effects. This is a documentary based on the filming of Effects, which we'll go over later. And I haven't had a chance to dive into this yet, but memories of Pittsburgh filmmaking. This is going to be talking about guys like Tom Savini, George Romero being a big one. And I picked this up from an incredible Facebook seller, so I'm super happy to have this. It's a beautiful slipcover on there too. So that's one I still need to dive into. Another Michael Bay one, we have Ambulance. I actually had a ton of fun with this. I didn't get a chance to catch this in theaters, but Erica and I watched it when it came on, I think Peacock. And I love all of the drone footage flying over the buildings. I do think it overstays its welcome just a little bit. I mean, this does have a runtime of, I think, 127 minutes, or 137 minutes, actually. So I think it overstays its welcome just a tad, but Jake Gyllenhaal is great. Everybody else in the cast is fantastic. I still had a lot of fun with that. It's cool to see. I know I said we'll never get a chance to see true mature Michael Bay, but I'm good with just regular old Michael Bay, honestly. Keep doing your thing. So next up we have the George Romero Lost film of The Amusement Park. This was put out by RLJE and Shudder in connection with the Romero Foundation, and this is only 54 minutes long, but it is a terrifying tale of aging and how the public sees senior citizens. If you didn't get a chance to check this out, it's really cheap through RLJE, and it is on Shudder, so I'm super happy to have that one. I have Aquaman. I'm mainly a Marvel fan, but I do like most of what DC has done, and I'm excited for the direction that they're going. And I think James Wan just had a ton of fun making Aquaman. Jason Momoa is great in the role. I love Wan's ability to balance humor and the action, because I think the action is shot so well with these super insane wide shots. It's really creative. And everything that Wan touches, including the Fast and Furious franchise, including horror, he has his own spin, and I'm happy that he's always bringing that forward in his films. And Aquaman is a bunch of fun. I have good hopes for the sequel. I'm not really holding my breath in excitement for it, but I think Aquaman is great. One of the more fun rides in the DCEU. I haven't had a chance to check this out yet. I just picked this up. I bought off a Facebook seller, and that is Babylon. I'm sort of a mixed bag when it comes to Damien Chazelle. I haven't seen Whiplash yet. I know, hate me for it. I'm not a big fan of musicals, so I didn't check out La La Land. I did like First Man. I didn't love it, but everything about this seemed right up my alley, and I wanted to pick it up. I got it from an awesome Facebook seller, so I'm excited to dive into that sometime soon. We have, of course, the Batman, Robert Pattinson. We have, I think his name is, if I remember correctly, Matt Reeves behind the camera. I was a huge fan of what he did with the remake of Let the Right One In. He did Let Me In. He also did the last two. He did Dawn and War of the Planet of the Apes, which I was a huge fan of. The Batman, I have a little bit of like a love-like relationship with. I love moments in this. I think overall the nearly 3-hour runtime does tend to drag it down, but it's shot beautifully. This was probably the most well-shot film of 2022. And I think the initial introduction of Batman in that scene where he beats up the goon is fantastic. I think him lighting up the flare, fantastic, guiding everybody to safety. I think that's all fantastic. I absolutely love all of that. But the highlight in this to me is the chase scene, which is shot so goddamn well. I am excited for a part 2. I am. I mean, I know the runtime does drag this down, but I'm excited to see where this version of Batman goes, especially with Matt Reeves sticking, behind the camera. Well, this one aged well. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I am a fan of what Zack Snyder was doing. And I think Batman v Superman, more so the Ultimate Edition, which is I think it's a 30-minute longer cut. 30 more minutes of footage, I think is a superior film. It has its problems. It's nowhere near perfect, but every time I put this on, I have a lot of fun. And I actually don't hate Jesse Eisenberg in the role of Lex Luthor. But I love Zack Snyder's style of filming, so... Battle Los Angeles. I just watched this the other day. This is directed by Jonathan Liebsman. It's okay. It's a bunch of cool action. It's shot very documentary style, and I think that kind of actually hurts the film a little bit. But I love that it's a little bit more of a modern day, more practical war film. And it's a ton of fun. I mean, I think it's a take on the realism if this actually happened. I think they did it's an okay job. It's okay. It is a little bit long. I remember thinking this is still going at 116 minutes, but still a fun little film. Not perfect, but Becky, I just heard of Wrath of Becky, so he's getting a sequel. I'm insanely excited about that. But I love this movie. I've been meaning to pick up the Ronin Flicks version of it, but I think Kevin James is fantastic. Lulu Wilson is great. There's a really disturbing eye scene in here. All of the kills in this movie are absolutely brutal, and Becky is a fantastic character to be following into a sequel. So that's a good one. If you haven't watched that, Joel McHale is also in it. That's an awesome little movie. Awesome little movie. Next up, we have Big Fish. And fun fact, this is my favorite Tim Burton movie. This movie just tugs at my heartstrings in a way that very few movies do. I think this 4K transfer sucks. I waited for the 4K to come out because I was like, I might as well get the most recent one. And I was actually talking to a couple people over at, I think it was High Def Digest over on Twitter, and they were like, yeah, the transfer is not very good. But absolutely love this movie. I have a very soft spot for that. And my favorite band, just a little fun fact about me, is Yellow Card, who has an entire song dedicated to that movie. So, Bill and Ted, the 3-pack. I love all 3 of these. Bogus Journey is my favorite. I was really surprised at how good Face the Music was. Actually, an old coworker of mine, old employee of mine, bought me this 3-film collection. So, I love all of those. Next up in the DC, Birds of Prey. Actually haven't seen this yet. I've been meaning to jump on it because I heard the stunt crew behind John Wick actually kind of came in a little bit through production and helped them out with some of the action scenes. So I've heard really good things. It's just kind of fallen by the wayside as well. But Birds of Prey. Another one I haven't seen yet, Black Adam. I got this from the Facebook seller that I got Babylon from. Man, the controversy that Dwayne, The Rock Johnson, and this film has stirred up in the last couple of weeks in movie news has been crazy, but still excited to check that out. Next up, we have the Blumhouse remake of Black Christmas. It's good. I mean, don't expect, a perfect retelling of the original. This is a completely different approach to it, and it works. It's PG-13 modern horror that actually works really, really well. I didn't have any hopes for this, and I ended up just having a lot of fun with it. So that's a good recommendation there. Another one I haven't seen, actually just picked this up a couple weeks ago, Black Swan. I've heard it's crazy. I've been back on a little bit of a Darren Aronofsky kick since The Whale came out, so I want to not revisit, but check that out sometime soon. I'm a huge fan of Suspiria, and I've heard that that's a little bit of a modern day Suspiria. So next up, the Blade trilogy. Blade is fantastic. Blade 2 is great. Guillermo del Toro behind the camera. He does a great job. Blade Trinity is a guilty pleasure for me. It's stupid. It's fun. You know, you see a really early Ryan Reynolds just doing his Ryan Reynolds thing in that. I have a lot of fun with it. I do agree it's the worst in the trilogy, though. So don't kill me yet. So Braveheart, come on. I mean, this and The Patriot, I have such a soft spot for them, especially the second half of Braveheart. But freedom. Brawl in Cell Block 99. I remember this was a complete blind buy for me. And at the time I'd watched this, I wasn't really introduced to S. Craig Zahler yet, because this was actually the first movie of his I watched. And I remember just falling in love with this, and I tracked down Bone Tomahawk, and I fell in love with that. And then I patiently waited for Dragged Across Concrete, which we'll be talking about probably in a minute or so. And I also love that. So this movie's brutal as hell. Love Vince Vaughn in this role. I love S. Craig Zahler's style of writing and directing. Just a ton of fun with that one there. I do want to show too. Slipcover and the reversible art, in my opinion, is absolutely fantastic. Old school art there. I love that. Mainstream movies, reversible cover art needs to be a new thing. A little Goodwill pickup with Bridesmaids. I actually had never seen this. Me and Erica sat down and watched it, and I had a ton of fun. So I found it at Goodwill it was actually half this. It was only $2, so I had to pick that up, add that to the collection. Another Goodwill pickup, actually that same day, I grabbed Bullet to the Head. This was also only $2. It's a Sylvester Stallone vehicle, and I'd never seen it, so hoping to check that one out sooner than later. This is a fun one. Bullet Train. This is directed by, I think, David Leitch, right? Yeah, David Leitch. Leitch. Brad Pitt is fantastic. There's a great moment at the end where he's flying through a crashing train and gets hit in the head with a coffee pot. Just beginning to end, I love the cast. I love the chaotic style of it. The action is fantastic. Everybody's great. This is a stacked cast. It's a ton of fun. This is what action movies should be. You should have your John Wicks, and then you have the humorous, more fun, flashy style of Bullet Train that I love. So that was a big surprise one for me last year. Candyman. This was the requel that came out a couple years ago. I saw this in theaters twice. I absolutely loved it. I'm a big fan of the original Candyman from the 90s. Not a big fan of the sequels. But I watched this and absolutely loved it. I think Nia DaCosta killed it in the direction. I do think it's a little heavy-handed in some of its themes, but that's okay. I think for a modern-day telling of Candyman, they did a fantastic job, both visually and from a storytelling style. And the last, 10 seconds of this movie was complete and utter joy for me. So I love everything about that movie. And I've rewatched it 6 or 7 times, even after I saw it in theaters. And one that I don't love, but I own because I'm a sick completionist, and that is the Chloe Grace Moretz Carrie with this lenticular slip here, which is really cool. Honestly, I just feel like they did a good job with a lot of the retelling. I think Julianne Moore is great as the mom. The thing that kills me is that the entire prom scene is just crazy CGI. So overall, I mean, I think that ruins most of it, because the big thing with Carrie is the prom scene, and if you don't do that right, it doesn't matter how good the rest of the movie is. Kind of ruined it. So Child's Play. This was the retelling that kind of broke off from the Don Mancini thing in an attempt to make money, and we ended up with this. It's not bad. It's fine. It's a kind of electronic killer doll movie, and you can really tell there's no Don Mancini. You can tell it's a different crew, but it's fine. There's some decent kills. I think the ending goes bonkers, and that's where it becomes a lot of fun, but it's just okay. We have Children of the Corn Runaway. I just got this as part of a little bundle. I haven't seen that yet. We have... Oh, I just picked this up at Monster Mania. It's a Christmas Bloody Christmas directed by Joe Begos. This film was shot in 35mm, so I love the visuals of this film. It's a weird movie, though, because the first 30 minutes or so, the first 30, 40 minutes are just absolutely insufferable. I mean, Rob Zombie level dialogue. And then once the slayings, for lack of a better term, start, this movie goes full crazy. And then I think the final act kind of overstays its welcome a little bit, but this is definitely on my Christmas horror movie list every year now. I still had a lot of fun with it. Joe Begos is great. Just when he's writing his own stuff, he needs to work on that dialogue. So here we have Chucky, Season 1 and 2. I just got this from Amazon. Fantastic. I'm so happy to see Don Mancini continuing with this character. I think they're doing a great job with it. Super happy they're continuing to release those on physical media as well. Clerks 3, haven't seen it yet. I do have Clerks 1 and 2. They're just in a different section of the collection, but looking forward to sitting down and checking that out soon. And then the collection. I also have the Collector. I just don't have a slip for it, so it's in a different section. I love the Collector. I think that it should continue. I think they should be able to finish that third film, The Collected. The collection definitely takes the premise and expands it. It gets a little bit more ridiculous, a little bit more crazy, but it's still a lot of fun. If you're a fan of gory, that torture porn style horror like I am, then The Collector and The Collection are both great. I feel like this character of The Collector is not talked about enough. These movies are super creative. They're super fun. And yeah, just check these out if you haven't yet. And then we have Creed 2. I'm on the fence. I'm on the side of the fence that I love Creed 2. I actually like it more than the first movie. I haven't seen Creed 3 yet, but Creed 2 is great. I just revisited that not long ago. And then we have all 3 seasons from RLJE of Creepshow. Greg Nicotero is still running this, and it's still going strong. I think all 3 of these seasons are great. You know, with anthologies, some of the stories are better than others, and that's okay, but super happy to see the Creepshow is alive and well with, I think, a 4th season pretty much on the way. So next up we have Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future, which I liked. I didn't love it. I love a lot of aspects of it. I think all in all, I was a little bit maybe underwhelmed by the experience of it, but it does need a little bit of a revisit. I do think it's a little slow, but Cronenberg's mind and his ability to write is incredible. There's some fantastic imagery in here, so that's a good one as well. And then Gore Verbinski's A Cure for Wellness. I love this movie. I was not looking for this movie when I found it. I actually found, I think there was another movie I bought, and he also had this, and I was like, yeah, throw that in. And I watched it, and I loved it. This movie's visually beautiful. It has this very Phantom of the Opera style ridiculous ending that comes out of left field, but that's perfectly okay. I love A Cure for Wellness, and I'm super happy to own it. Getting to the bottom of this pile here with The Cursed. This was a 100% blind buy for me. I grabbed this from Best Buy one day after it came out. Think like beginning of last year. And it's this sort of older style werewolf story that I think works really well. There's some really effective stuff. I love the myth building in this. They sort of changed up the lore a little bit. And it's just cool to see movies like this still being made and still just having a ton of fun. There's some really gruesome images. And I mean, this slipcover here is awesome. I love that artwork on there. As you can see back here, mid-transformation on there. So this is a fun little one. If you haven't seen this yet, it's not great. I think I gave it like a 3.5 stars, but it's still cool to see movies like that being made. Another one from Shudder. This is The Dark and the Wicked. This is actually directed by Brian Bertino, who did The Strangers. I've heard crazy things about this. I just haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I did get that from Best Buy, like really, really cheap too when it came out. Death Wish. This is the Eli Roth remake. It's okay. I mean, it's fine. It's no original Death Wish, but it's okay. Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. Of course, this is fantastic. I think Django Unchained and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. So I absolutely love that one. The sequel that shouldn't be as good as it is, but Mike Flanagan is a master, and that is Dr. Sleep. I did not see this in theaters. I bought it on Blu-ray the day it came out, and I immediately watched the 30-minute longer director's cut. It's actually a perfect 180 minutes, and I absolutely loved it. I think Mike Flanagan is a damn near perfect director. I love his storytelling. I love the attachments to the original Shining in the third act. I think that this is a absolutely fantastic follow-up, not just to King's original novel, but to the original film as well. So I absolutely love this. It should not be as good as it is, but it is. And man, I'm such a sucker for that movie. I actually just watched this the other night. Sorry, I'm picking up the other movies. I just watched this the other night, and I love it. That is Don't Breathe. This movie's super tight. I think it runs at, 88 minutes. And this movie is absolutely incredible. The blind man is great. The tension in this is just like rocketed up to 100. You have no idea what's going to happen next. And it's just Fede Alvarez, who directed the Evil Dead remake before he did this, just knocks it out of the park. There's some incredible moments. I love this movie. And then I'm actually also a big fan of Don't Breathe 2. I saw this in theaters by myself. I was the only person in the movie theater. And I think the switch up of, turning the blind man from the antagonist to the protagonist was a little bit weird. So it kind of made your connection to him and the sympathy that you have for him as a character a little rough. But he did a pretty good job at kind of establishing why we should be on his side, why we should support him. And I think this movie goes a little bit too far. It definitely branches out and tries to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more widespread than the first film, which is pretty much condensed to just the one house. But I do think it's a brutal experience. I know Fede Alvarez was a producer on this, and he actually handpicked, it was a friend of his, I think you say Rodo Savakes was the director. So I actually had a good amount of fun with that. Even upon when I revisited it, I had fun. And then last up on this shelf, we have Don't Worry, Darling. I actually like Olivia Wilde as a director. I think this was a really, really, really good project for her. This movie is shot beautifully. If the story is maybe a little convoluted and confusing, it's a little bit too out there for its own good, I definitely think it could kind of pull it back. But Florence Pugh is great. The cast is great. You have Chris Pine in here as well. Gemma Chan, Nick Kroll, Harry Styles. I mean, it's a packed cast. And overall, it was a good experience. I bought it because I wanted to revisit it. And when I did actually in the original complete movie collection pickup, I said that I bought it because I didn't really love it on my first experience. So I bought it to try to, give it a second go and see if I can love it more. And I did give it a second go, and I did end up loving it more. So that's Don't Worry, Darling. And I need to grab another shelf worth of stuff. All right, so moving on to another shelf. We have Drive Angry. I actually just bought this from Second and Charles last week, and I still have yet to see it. But Amber Heard, Nicolas Cage. You have Louis Leterrier as the director here, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. We have, honestly, one of my favorite Nolan films. I know a lot of people don't love this movie, but it's okay for your opinion. You can have your own. That is Dunkirk. I love the slight lapse in timing between the events. It's fun how Nolan's always playing with timing and stuff, but love the depiction here. I love how this movie's shot. It's a little bit more lean for Nolan at only 106 minutes, but I think it gets the job done. It's not, an Inception, which I think is his masterpiece. But I have a soft spot for Dunkirk. And then we have, as Craig Zahler, Dragged Across Concrete. This is an absolute pure example of how good Zahler is at writing characters. He's not afraid to just kill everybody off. The third act of this just gets all twisty and crazy and wacky. And, you don't love either of your main characters, neither Mel Gibson's or Vince Vaughn's. You don't really like anybody in the process. And Jennifer Carpenter in here is just, for like the 10 minutes that she shows up, I mean, Bob's Blu-ray said it best. He was like, hell of a time handling her character in that. So, Dragged Across Concrete. Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. I actually loved this movie. I saw it in theaters with Erica. Had a ton of fun with it. Baz Luhrmann's chaotic directorial style is fantastic. It fits it very well. I'm not on the side that says this was snubbed by the Oscars. I think it's perfectly good. Austin Butler's performance was great. So, big fan of Elvis. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I actually haven't watched this in full yet. I know, shame me. I will, though. I will. God, I felt awful saying that. So I bought this because of a director's series I'm going to be doing on this director. This is Ridley Scott's Exodus, Gods and Kings. I haven't watched it yet, but I will get around to it as soon as I start that director's series. The Fabelmans, I've talked about this movie a ton on this channel. Love that movie. Steven Spielberg is the man. Next up, we have... Yes, I am a Fast and the Furious fan. I did not like F9. I think it's not as weak as F8, but it was bad. But I am a big fan of Hobbs and Shaw. It's a shame the drama. This is the second time in this video I'm bringing up drama that kind of started with The Rock. But the drama, I know that Shaw is in the trailers for Fast X. So I'm a fan of that one. Sad to see the Fast and Furious coming to an end, but all good things eventually have to come to one. So, David Fincher's Fight Club. This movie was so important to me when I was younger. It still holds up. I just rewatched it not too long ago. And then we have the Final Destination franchise. Love the first. I love the second. I love the third. Not a big fan of the fourth. I like the fifth. I heard that they're working on a sixth. I do it, please, because this is a franchise that I don't understand how it runs out of steam. Like, just keep coming up with cool ways to kill people and use practical effects, and I'm 100% okay with that. So hopefully we get a sixth one sooner rather than later. The Forest, I bought this as part, I think, the Kino sale close to the beginning of the year. Haven't watched it yet, but I love this slipcover art there with the daddies going hunting. That's actually a Code Red release, that one there. Forrest Gump, I hate Jenny, but I love this movie. Absolutely love that movie. I cry on average probably 3 times during the 2.5 hour runtime of that. So this was one of my favorite releases of last year. Dario Argento's Four Flies on Grey Velvet in 4K from Severin. Beautiful release, great movie. Check this out if you haven't yet. Absolutely looks fantastic in 4K. It's a great presentation from Severin as well. This is David Ayer's Fury. I'm a big World War II movie fan, and Fury just works so well. I love how it's shot. I love the cinematography. Brad Pitt's character is great. Actually, a full ensemble cast here. You have Shia LaBeouf, John Bernthal, a bunch of people in this. The tank actual battle scenes are crazy. It's incredible to see what they were able to pull off, and they actually had members of this real Fury tank on set to work with them on realism and how to actually, put it on film in the most realistic way, and it pays off heavy with Fury. It's a great movie. Great film there. Get Him to the Greek. This is one of Erica's favorite comedies. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I remember it being really funny. I just picked this up for her. I do need to revisit it, though, for myself. And then she actually picked this up, Ghost. And this is that really cool Paramount Presents line with the poster and stuff. And she showed me this movie. I'd actually never seen this before she showed me, and I loved it. So she needed to pick it up and add it to the collection. I'm super happy to have that, too. Very, very happy. Crazy for Swayze. Ghostbusters Afterlife. This was directed by Ivan Reitman's son, Jason Reitman. And I loved this movie. I thought it was a perfect way to bring Ghostbusters back into the light. I love all the characters. I do think, it gets a little bit crazy with the CGI. But it's, a modern day film, so it's going to be. But overall, I still had a ton of fun with it. Paul Rudd's fantastic. The ending, the third act, if you know what I'm talking about, pulled on the heartstrings. Erica was a mess in the theater. It just brought me back to simpler times. Like, when the movie was over, I was like, I feel like a kid again. And even though I was not a kid when Ghostbusters came out, it just brought that joy out of me. Kind of like that why I love movies feeling and why I love going to the movies. So I have a really soft spot for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Really excited to see what they do with the new one. Goalies 1 and 2. This was a gift from Erica's brother. This is from Umbrella Entertainment. I still haven't watched these yet. I need to. They're actually almost at the top of my watch list. I think I got like 3 more titles before I dive into these. But really cool 2-pack here from Umbrella. I was waiting for that to fall over. Ridley Scott's Gladiator. I don't know what to say. Are you not entertained? Is that what everybody says? Love this movie. Absolutely love that movie. The Godzilla 3 film collection. Actually love all 3 of these. I think Kong Skull Island visually is my favorite. King of the Monsters is flawed, but when you have giant monsters on screen, you have that crazy shot of Ghidorah up on the volcano with the cross. There's just all kinds of moments of love in that. And Godzilla vs. Kong is just a big, noisy smash 'em up that I loved every second of. I think Adam Wingard directed the hell out of that movie. I love the battleship scene. I just had a lot of fun with Godzilla vs. Kong, and I kind of got it condensed in this nice little 3-pack when it came out. So always saving space, when we can. Eli Roth's The Green Inferno. I remember reading about this movie for years, and as a big Cannibal Holocaust fan, I couldn't wait, and I was so disappointed. Like, I can see where he was coming from in the, his love for Ruggero Deodato and his love for Cannibal Holocaust and Italian cannibal films of the 70s, but this just ended up being fart jokes and other jokes. I was not a fan of Green Inferno. We have The Green Knight. It's directed by David Lowery. I picked this up really cheap. I think around Christmas, like after Black Friday. Have yet to watch it, though. I do need to. I like David Lowery as a director. And then we have the Halloween trilogy. So I love 2018 Halloween. I thought this was damn near perfect. I have a ton of fun with Halloween Kills. I don't take these movies as serious as most people do. As long as Michael Myers is slashing and killing, I'm perfectly happy with it. So Halloween Kills I was fine with. It is a little bit annoying hearing Evil Dies Tonight over and over and over again, but that's okay. I actually was a fan too of the little subplot they had of the other escaped patient who they thought was Michael, even though he's built completely differently and not as tall and has crazy hair, and he ends up jumping off the building and killing himself. A lot of people had a problem with that. I actually liked it. I thought it was one of the standouts of this film. So big fan of Kills. And I'm Team Corey. I like Halloween Ends. I like it a lot. I remember initially watching it and just thinking that was great. I'm fine with it. Now, let me speak my piece. You could definitely tell some hands got involved, and there was some time because of COVID, and a lot of stuff happened that allowed for rewrites. And the storyline, like the timeline, doesn't make a lot of sense. And there are glaring storytelling issues with Halloween Ends, but at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun with it. We got what we got, and we're not going to be able to change it. David Gordon Green's a great director, and I think that he did a fine job with them. Now he's on The Exorcist. It's kind of crazy. Happy Birthday to Me. I picked this up during the Kino sale. I haven't seen this in years, so I'm looking forward to revisiting that soon. My favorite movie to watch around Halloween, Haunt. I absolutely love this movie. I love this movie the first time I watched it on Shudder when it came out a couple of years back. Love that it got a physical media release from Ronin Flicks, and they're actually talking about doing a sequel now, and this is Scott Beck and Brian Woods directed this. There's a great book out too that's the screenplay / behind the scenes. That's fantastic as well. Big supporter of those guys. Big fan of this movie. I hope the sequel comes out soon because I'm going to be, day one waiting for it. Next up we have Hereditary. This movie scared the shit out of me. It still does. I think Ari Aster is an incredible director. I'm blanking on a name right now. Toni Collette is fantastic. This is what I guess you can kind of consider the sort of start of elevated horror. I don't really care either way. This movie's pretty damn terrifying. And if you've ever lost a loved one, that movie's going to beat you up from the inside out. That's a crazy movie right there. Dollar Store Find, Hobo with a Shotgun. Directed by Jason Eisner, his latest movie just came out. I think Kids vs. Aliens it's called. And it's crazy. It brings me back to like trauma times basically. It's Grindhouse all the way through. I always have a ton of fun with it. I was happy that I found it at the dollar store. I didn't really want to invest any more than that into it. Her House on Sorority Row. It's fine. Yeah, it's a good 80s slasher. I actually prefer the remake, though. I prefer Sorority Row over this one. Cool release, though, by MVD Rewind with the kind of retro slip there. I'm just waiting for that pile to fall over there. Speaking of Ruggero Deodato, House on the Edge of the Park. This movie is absolutely brutal. I bought this at... Oh my god, I forget what it's called. It was a store in New York that Erica and I had gone up to, and I couldn't pass up on a nice slipped version of that. And then one of my favorite blind buys, Hunter x Hunter. This was put out by IFC Midnight through Scream Factory, and I loved this movie. Devon Sawa's in this. Nick Stahl makes an appearance that's just crazy. This movie's going to take you all sorts of ways you're not expecting, and the ending is absolutely nuts. So seek out Hunter x Hunter if you can. There's a great alternative art in here as well there. So love this movie, love this release. And we got whatever I can grab. In Search of Tomorrow. If you've seen my review of In Search of Darkness Part 3, I love the team behind all of these. In Search of Tomorrow is fantastic. They're actually working on the second part of it. So, big fan of that. I will always support what they do. Nolan's masterpiece, Inception. I love this. What do you call it on the front here? Just blanked on the word. But absolutely love this movie. The last hour of this film is pure perfection in my eyes. And every single time I watch this, I'm just like, holy shit, blown back. So, absolutely love that movie. And then, another one of Nolan's movies that I think was great. Not as good, but Interstellar. I was in tears. You know the scene. Don't play with me. You know the scene I'm talking about. And then we have Leigh Whannell's The Invisible Man. And love what he was able to do with bringing this character back. I think this movie is haunting. There's this crazy thing that happens to kick off the third act at a restaurant that was so surprising. His ability to bring the Invisible Man character into modern day through a story of abuse that's kind of very relevant and very modern was incredible. His use of technology and everything. Elizabeth Moss is great. I'm a big fan of what Leigh Whannell did with that, and I can't wait to see what Whannell cooks up next for us. And then we have It, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Big fan of both of these. I definitely think It, Chapter 2 has its issues, and it's a little bit crazy at the 170-minute runtime, but I was a big fan of both of these. I do know that, what's his name? It's a little late at night. Andy Muschietti's The Flash is getting a ton of positive press. So these two, love them, love him as a director. My dog just knocked down all the movies, so if you hear a weird noise, that was him. Jackass Forever. I grew up watching Jackass. I have everything they've ever put out. This movie in theaters was great. I love the new cast. Erica and I were practically peeing our pants, so that's a good one. John Wick Chapter 3. I don't think this is the best of the franchise. I would go John Wick as my favorite, John Wick 2 as the best of them, and then John Wick 3 is still fantastic. It's not as good, but it's still great. And I haven't seen John Wick Chapter 4 yet, so I love all three of these movies though. So, and that's actually the only one I have with a slip, which is why it's the only one on this side over here. So then we have, everything's falling over here, and I'm just gonna let that go. Joker. This movie, it hasn't aged very well with me. Each time I watch it, I like it a little bit less. I love some of the visuals. Todd Phillips is a very strong visual director, and I love the dark approach to this. This really kind of left me speechless on the first time I watched it. The second time I was like, damn, that's good. And then the third time I was like, it's okay. So, and then to finish off this shelf, we have The Judge. I am a sucker for a good emotional drama. Robert Downey Jr., Robert Duvall. You also have Vince D'Onofrio in this. I love this movie. It's not great by any means, but I love it. It's a little long. It overstays its welcome a little bit at 141 minutes, but the ending is absolutely heartbreaking. So another movie that I just love. Now I'm gonna try to put all this back so I can get onto another shelf. All right, so on to the third and final shelf. We have... Let's see. Jeez. We have The Lost World, Jurassic Park. Not as good as the first, but I still love it. We have Jurassic Park 3. Joe Johnston, he tried. I love that he still was going as practical as he was, though. So there's some great moments in Jurassic Park 3, but not my favorite. This movie can burn in hell and die. Jurassic World Dominion sucked. And then Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, it's in this cool Target exclusive case. I actually liked it. I think that J.A. Bayona's approach by being a little bit more dark and gothic is cool. I think it works well. I don't love all the decisions made in it. I think it's a little bit weird that they decided to blow up the island, but I guess it was needed. And it's ridiculous, as all the Jurassic World movies are. But yeah, Fallen Kingdom, I'm on the side that says it was good. So, imagery-wise, I mean, it's shot so well. Like, it's such a dark movie, so I can kind of... Like, I'm okay with it, you know? Next up, we have Zack Snyder's Justice League. I didn't even see the Joss Whedon version of Justice League. I waited until this came out, and I freaking loved every second of it. This is 242 minutes in length. It's shot beautifully. I think it's a masterpiece, honestly, and I'm not a Snyder fanboy. I'm not part of the Restore the Snyderverse team. I just think this movie is an epic in every single way. The action is great. It's shot super well. The cast is awesome. They work so well together, and the kind of hold off for this project to come out was worth every single bit of the wait. So I was a big fan of Snyder's Justice League. And then we have Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2. The first Kick-Ass is a classic. It was directed by Matthew Vaughn. I didn't even have to remember it the last second. And then Kick-Ass 2, I think, is good. It does... You can tell that Vaughn is missing. You can tell there was a pretty big budget drop. The effects are nowhere near as good. But it's fine. I love all the drama with Jim Carrey. He just was not a supporter of this movie. He didn't love the content. He didn't love the character. But both of these are a lot of fun to have. We have Kill Her Goats. This is from With a No Productions. You have Kane Hodder here as the killer, and then a bunch of random other girls, including Playmate of the Year, Danny Mathers, and it's okay. I mean, I'm a big supporter of independent horror. The beginning kind of opens up with a bang, a good kill, and then there's about 45 minutes of solid nothing before the slaughter begins at the end, and it's... I don't know. I have fun with it. I've heard a lot of people that absolutely hate it. That's fine. I had fun with it. So that's Kill Her Goats. And then next up in the collection, Peter Jackson's King Kong. This is the Ultimate Edition. I love this movie. I think Peter Jackson just did a wonderful job with the source material. Breaks my heart. Shatters my heart into a million pieces. I think that Jack Black, Adrian Brody, Naomi Watts, I think the crew was incredible. What they were able to do, Andy Serkis played actual King Kong. He did all of the movements for it and everything. That way the visual effects supervisor team can put everything on top. But I absolutely love that movie. It's a long watch, but that's okay. It's worth the sit down. This is Rian Johnson's Knives Out. I did not expect to love this as much as I did. I have yet to watch Glass Onion, but that's because I think I hate the fact that Netflix is not putting out their stuff on physical media. Glass Onion deserves a spot on the shelf just because I've heard it's great, and if it's anything like this one here, I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch. One of Erica's favorite movies and an awesome edition of it at that. This is Jim Henson's Labyrinth. This is the 35th anniversary release on 4K in this book style release. She showed me 2 Jim Henson movies. She showed me Dark Crystal, and I wasn't a fan of that. And then she showed me Labyrinth, and I just fell in love with it. David Bowie is great. Love the music, especially Magic Dance. I just love... You have a very young Jennifer Connelly in this. I just always have a lot of fun with it. I think the characters are wonderful. I think it's a great little adventure film. So I am very happy to have that. And then Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho, and for as big a Giallo fan as I am, I haven't watched this quite yet. I just picked this up not too long ago. I got it at a great price, so I do need to watch this, and I love Anya Taylor-Joy, so I'm probably gonna watch this honestly right after I'm done recording this. That's one I don't know why I haven't watched it. It's just sometimes stuff just gets lost on the shelf, you know. The Leprechaun Collection. We just watched Leprechaun on St. Paddy's Day. If you can't tell, I'm Irish as hell. So, love this movie. Jennifer Aniston. It's fantastic. Spoke about this a little earlier. Let Me In. This is the American remake by Matt Reeves of Let the Right One In. And it's not as good, but it's fantastic. It approaches things a little bit differently. I love this slipcover, too, with the moisture on the window there. Absolutely love this movie. Great remake. Great remake. I feel like this doesn't get talked about enough. Logan. This is the best on-screen interpretation, I think, of the Old Man Logan approach to things. I think that Hugh Jackman's always been great as Wolverine. I think this is the best outing as him, though. You have the hard R. This movie is directed to hell by James Mangold, if I remember correctly. Oh, yeah. James Mangold. I love the Noir edition, which is the black and white edit, too, that's in here. I friggin' love this movie. It absolutely broke my heart, that movie. And then we have the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I struggle with these. I read the books multiple times. I have the extended edition. All three of these are the 5-disc sets, so you just have tons and tons and tons of bonus features. I'm good to sit down and watch these probably once every 5 years or so. Erica could watch these once a month if she really wanted to. She loves these movies to death. I can handle them in smaller doses, but incredible adaptations, though. I mean, you cannot deny what Peter Jackson is able to do as a filmmaker, and those movies are going to go down in history as probably some of the best of its kind. So, next up we have Lords of Chaos. If you have not seen this yet, seek this out. This movie, it's actually one of the... Rory Culkin is in this. This is sort of a story about the rise or our period in time with Norwegian black metal and the burning of the churches. And this movie is brutal in every aspect. There is a just absolutely... I don't even know the word, shocking suicide scene in this. And the little times that there are violence in this, the violence is incredibly hard-hitting. It's very unsettling. But this is a hell of an experience. I'm so happy to finally have this. I found it about a year ago, finally. And this is one of my prized possessions. It's not rare or anything, but I just love that movie. And anytime I bring up Lords of Chaos, people are like, what the hell are you talking about? So... The Lost Boys on 4K. One of my favorite vampire movies. It looks absolutely incredible in 4K. Love and Monsters. This is Dylan O'Brien. This was a blind buy for me, and I just had a ton of fun with it. It was super cool. The CGI was great. It had a lot of heart. The action was fun. Michael Rooker's in this as well. At the end of the day, this movie just, it felt good. You know, I had a smile on my face. I was happy, and just walked away from it with a very positive attitude. So... Love and Monsters, that's a favorite of mine. Machete, just watched this the other day. I feel like Robert Rodriguez just didn't go far enough. I think that, the beginning of the movie's full grindhouse, and then it's like little tiny segments up until the end, which gets a little bit bonkers. But I still love this character. I'm still looking for Machete Kills on Blu-ray as well. And then we have here the Malevolence trilogy. I'm just going to say Malevolence. These were directed by Stephen Mena, and I actually got this 3-pack off of his website for stupid cheap. And it's really cool because it's got this kind of matching... Let's see if I can line them up right here. So we got the first film, the second one, and the third one. The spine does this really cool thing up top here where it goes together. I remember watching the first one a while back. Oh yeah, they're all autographed as well. And I had a lot of fun with it. I heard the second one's great. I heard the third one's okay, but I'm going to get that opinion, for myself. But super cool trilogy to have there. Let's see what we got. I'm just done. We have James Wan's Malignant. Man, I was like lukewarm on this movie until the third act jail cell thing happens, and then this movie goes full blown out of control, and I freaking loved it. I love the soundtrack. I love the score of this movie. Give James Wan the money to make more original horror, studio horror, because you get cool shit like this. It's an awesome movie. Awesome movie. Man of Steel, I already said I'm a Zack Snyder fan. Man of Steel is great. It's one of my favorite Superman movies outside of the original Richard Donner film. The emotionality of this movie really gets me. I think, the scene with Kevin Costner and the tornado, I love this movie. I think the end, it kind of falls into, the average superhero action tropes, but that's okay. I still love that movie. And then we have Mandy. Yeah, I like this movie. I remember being, as anybody would, the first time they watched this, just, you don't really know what to think. You're just sort of in a little bit of a state of shock. And then, it settles and you're like, what the hell was that? And then you throw it on again, and the 3D scene, only 20 minutes in, gives you a headache. And then you're like, am I built for this? I really appreciate, Pasmos Cosmatos and what he did with this, but it's just not one that I love as much as I did the first time that I watched it. Ooh, a classic here. William Lustig, Maniac. Tom Savini's best exploding head, in my opinion. I mean, this movie is dirt and grime. It pretty much belongs splattered on the city streets that the movie's located in, but I always love it. This is a great Blu-ray release from Blue Underground, Mr. William Lustig himself. Oh, man. Marcel, The Shell with Shoes On. Freaking love Marcel. Great release from A24. I mean, just come on, the cutest little guy. Like, look at him. Fiddle Focus, look at him on there. Gosh, man, I'm in my 30s. I'm obsessed over a shell with shoes on. I'm okay with that. One I haven't watched yet. This was, I got this at a really good price, and I finally just pulled the trigger on it. Men. I still need to sit down and check that out, though. Mission Impossible Fallout. I love these movies. Henry Cavill reloading his arms in the fight scene. Oof. I don't know how those movies get better and better. And Dead Reckoning just looks, ridiculous again. So, a little 2-pack here of documentaries. We have the Monster Collection. This has the Frankenstein Complex, which is a documentary that follows a makeup effects studio. It's actually, why am I blanking on the name right now? Gosh, it's going to drive me nuts, so I need to open this up and look. I absolutely love the art inside of this release right here. It kind of flips open like this. And, it's a cool little release here. It's got this whole thing going on. And then you also have the Phil Tippett documentary on here as well. Uh-oh, I messed up the fold. You know how this crap goes. I love both of these documentaries. Great release. Thanks to Gore Forever for actually posting about this, because that was how I discovered it there. Shit. This movie sucks. God, how do you mess up Mortal Kombat? The opening scene is so good, too. How do you just go... I don't know. And then these are super cool, too. You have Battle of the Realms and Scorpion's Revenge. They're super violent animated films. This is as Mortal Kombat has ever been on film. I did not pick up Snowblind yet. I'm waiting for that to go at a good price so I can finish off that animated trilogy there. Ooh, last batch for this video. Rob Zombie's The Munsters. I had a lot more fun with this than I thought I would. A couple modders have put out the black and white cut, which I think would fit it better, but this movie was funny. I had a lot of fun with it. The Necrophiles. I picked this up at the Funhouse. I haven't watched it yet, but it comes with a condom. So, yeah. Let me know. If you've seen it, let me know, because I don't know what I'm in for. New Year's Evil. This is from Kino. Fun little slasher. I did watch this around New Year's. I think it was like a day or two after. So, cool little slasher there. Nightwish. This is from Unearthed Classics. This movie is bonkers. I had no idea what to expect of it. The makeup effects are great. The storyline is crazy. In my opinion, the last 30 minutes are the best of it. if you can get through everything else. But I actually had a lot more fun with this than I was expecting, and it was totally different than anything I could have expected. This is a crazy watch, but a good one there. That was actually a blind buy for me. No Time to Die. I saw this on a plane. I was coming from New Jersey to Texas for a work thing, and I got to sit down and watch this whole thing, and yeah, I loved it. I'm a fan of Daniel Craig, James Bond, and I was a fan of how they ended it. So, and then last up for this video, and shelf number 3, Nocturnal Animals. I actually have never seen this. This was a blind buy from a Goodwill for me. Amy Adams, Jake Gyllenhaal. This is directed by Tom Ford, who's a great director, but looking forward to checking this one out soon. Whew. It's late. I think I'm going to wrap up episode 1 here. Do me a favor, comment down below. Let me know what your favorite that we've shown so far is. I'm thinking this is probably going to be a 5-6 parter maybe. But yeah, I'm excited to keep going and just keep showing off the collection. I love talking about the movies that we own, because there's actually a couple already I'm like, damn, I need to throw that back in and kind of rewatch it. So yeah, already creating a little bit of a watch list in my head. But do me a favor, keep on supporting physical media. Keep on supporting people who talk about physical media. If you collect physical media and you don't talk about it on Instagram, you don't talk about it on YouTube, I'm encouraging you to start it. The community is absolutely fantastic. It is wonderful. I'm super happy to be a part of it, and I would love anybody who supports movies and physical media to become a part of it. Keep your ears open on April 8th. I am going to be a part of Tim Talks Talkies top movies of the 90s community list video. We got a ridiculous amount of lists and a fantastic lineup of people that are going to be on that live stream, including myself. Erica is going to be there too. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm going to be starting to share that in the next day or so over on my social media, kind of blasting that and getting ready for that. It's going to be this coming Saturday. And hit the thumbs up if you're not a subscriber already. Subscribe, follow me over on Instagram. It's Bearded Film Guy. And yeah, I'll catch you on another late night. See ya.